right, rise and shine.
Rise and shine, chop chop.
Rise and shine.
Rise and shine, it's a beautiful day.
Rise and shine, rise and shine.
Rise and shine.
Rise and shine.
You guys are nerds.
This is exactly what the nerds want.
Our name shall become legend, spoken in hushed tones by nerds across the galaxy.
If you build it, nerds will come.
Nerds must love this place.
They think we're a bunch of nerds, and I'll tell you something, I think they're right.
Let the nerds take over.
Let the nerds take over.
Rise and shine, nerds. Grab your coffee, wipe the sleep from your eyes, and turn up the volume as we help kick off your day with Love Thy Nerd's official morning show here on YouTube and LTN Radio. I'm Radio Matt. I'm the Director of Content and Resources for Love Thy Nerd.
And I am Deidra, and I am your father.
Thank you for making us a part of your morning every morning, now Monday through Friday. Let's get to our top story. This might be the best argument for a VR metaverse. Okay. Mm-hmm. A paralyzed woman was finally able to speak through a digital avatar in a world first. So this comes from The Guardian. A severely paralyzed woman has been able to speak through an avatar using technology that translated her brain signals into speech and facial expressions. The latest technology uses tiny electrodes implanted on the surface of the brain to detect electrical activity in the part of the brain that controls speech and face movements. These signals are translated directly into a digital avatar's speech and facial expressions, including smiling, frowning, or surprise. The patient, a 47-year-old woman, Anne, has been severely paralyzed and suffering a brainstem stroke more than 18 years ago. She cannot speak or type and normally communicates using movement tracking technology that allows her to slowly select letters, I think with her eyes, up to 14 words a minute.
Wow.
She hopes the avatar technology could enable her to work as a counselor in the future. So it's one of those situations where the brain is completely functioning like normal, but she just can't get any of that out, which is, I can't imagine. The team implanted a paper-thin rectangle of 253 electrodes on the surface of Anne's brain over a region critical for speech. The electrodes intercepted the brain signals that, if not for the stroke, would have controlled muscles in her tongue, jaw, larynx, and face. Yeah, that's so strange.
Wow.
It's like picking up what the brain would do in your body and transmitting it as a computer code.
Right.
After implantation, Anne worked with the team to train the system's AI algorithm to detect her unique brain signals for various speech sounds by repeating different phrases over and over again. The computer learned 39 distinctive sounds, and a ChatGPT-style language model was used to translate the signals into intelligible sentences. This was then used to control an avatar with a voice personalized to sound like Anne's voice before the injury, based on recording of her speaking at her wedding. Like they used that. So it's kind of like that, you only need like 3 solid seconds of a voice to replicate the voice now.
Right.
The technology was not perfect, decoding words incorrectly 28% of the time in a test run involving more than 500 phrases. But that's still great. Wrong only 28% of the time. And it generated brain text rate at 78 words a minute compared to the 110 to 150 words typically spoken in a natural conversation. So that's also great. That's at worst about half the speed as you would normally talk in a conversation. That's fantastic. However, scientists said the latest advances in accuracy, speed, and sophistication suggest the technology is now at a point of being practically useful for patients. A crucial next step is to create a wireless version of the BCI that could be implanted beneath the skull. So one that you could have that wouldn't really need charged. It wouldn't need direct input power to use. Super dope.
Yeah.
Really cool use of technology. I'd never thought about this use of like a digital avatar.
Right.
But like this has me thinking about like the metaverse and things. Like imagine being completely paralyzed in reality, but being able to actually control a virtual body and speak and interact with normal others like normal in a virtual environment. A way to gain back at least some sort of normality, even if it is in like on a virtual platform.
Right. Yeah. That's pretty cool.
I mean, that's got me thinking, like, even creating a VR world just for everyone that's in this situation. Like, I don't know how many people are completely paralyzed like this, but I have to assume there's at least a couple hundred at any given time, right?
Well, we know somebody.
That's true. There's someone that we know. So, I mean, it's got to be at least a few hundred in America alone that are in this situation. But, like, if they could have their own virtual world where they could all go and interact and share the struggles with each other about that and talk, like you said, this woman wants to be a counselor.
Yeah.
For, I'm assuming, people in similar situations.
Right.
That would be amazing.
That would be pretty cool.
Kind of has an Amazon's upload feel to it, I'll admit. So, like, it would need to be like a charitable thing, like funded by multiple tech companies as a goodwill gesture, not have like what the normal metaverse would have, you know, like you buy this for an upgrade or, you know, these kind of microtransactions or whatever. It would need to be like a this is free kind of thing.
Yeah.
But anyway, back in the real world, even just being able to have a somewhat normal conversation with somebody who can think clearly, but just can't have that ability to speak those thoughts out loud. That's got to be incredibly exciting.
Yeah. For like, think about your family that you haven't been able to communicate to.
Yeah. To just be able to talk.
Yeah. That's awesome.
To have a relatively normal rate of speed conversation too. It's like, you can talk with her, but you have to use the extremely long process of figuring out the words. Or it has me thinking of like Breaking Bad, the old guy in the wheelchair, like had to use that which row and then which letter and which row kind of thing, just to spell out words. How it took so long to do. Like, it's those kind of things that they have to do in these kind of situations. You can't have a real conversation at that point.
Right.
So yeah, this is incredibly cool. I'm excited to see where it goes in the future, but I think even at this point, that's amazing.
That's awesome.
Let's move on to other news. Apple is formally endorsing the right to repair legislation after spending millions of dollars to fight it. This comes from 404 Media. Apple told California legislator that it is formally supporting a right to repair bill in California, a landmark move that suggests big tech manufacturers understand that they have lost the battle to monopolize repairing their cell phones or computers. They need to allow customers and independent repair shops to fix their own electronics. Apple writes in support of SB 244 and urges members of the California legislation to pass the bill as currently drafted. Apple wrote to Susan Eggman, the sponsor of the bill, in a letter obtained by 404 Media. It says, we support SB 244 because it includes requirements that protect individual users' safety and security, as well as protect manufacturers' intellectual property. We will continue to support this bill so long as it continues to provide protections for customers and innovators. This is a landmark shift in policy from Apple, the most powerful electronics manufacturer in the world and historically one of the biggest opponents of right to repair legislation nationwide. It means effectively the customers have won, consumers have won. So what makes this silly is, like, it's a good thing they're doing the right thing, but it's really clear they had no choice. It's like Apple is convinced they can treat their customers like garbage because they're the it thing in smartphones and computers. But I think people are getting tired of that. Why keep paying to be confined into their ridiculous razor wire fence? Like, you have to pay a monthly subscription to use their repair service, to call their helpline.
Really?
Apple Care costs you money constantly.
Jeez.
But that's the only way that they'll allow you to fix your stuff too. And so you have to pay for the repair, most likely, at least part of it. And you have to pay for just the ability to ask to have it repaired.
Wow.
On a monthly subscription.
Do you think it's that they're getting like behind in repairs or something, and they're like, maybe we'll let others work on this too?
I don't think so. No, Apple's such a huge corporation. I'm sure they've got thousands.
Maybe they're spending too much money on repairing, and they're like,
maybe their stuff is taking more money to repair.
Right, right.
I still don't see them just not passing that back on, though, to you. I think that it's just gotten to the point where there are too many people who are standing up against this, and now governments are getting involved. It's like, look, let people fix their stuff. It's fine. You don't need to take all of the dollars. Let them have some dollars. Last up, a story from the past. Darth Vader actor David Prowse, the guy in the suit, spoiled the big Star Wars plot twist 2 years before Empire Strikes Back was released. And we're just finding this out. Star Wars Empire Strikes Back featured one of the biggest and most surprising plot twists in movie history with, spoiler alert, the reveal, this is like the original spoiler alert, right? The reveal that Darth Vader was Luke Skywalker's father. It turns out Darth Vader actor David Prowse spoiled the huge plot twist 2 years before The Empire Strikes Back even came out. George Lucas did everything he could to keep the whole I am your father surprise a secret before and during the film's launch. But 2 years before the movie's premiere, in an interview in 1978 with San Francisco Examiner, Prowse revealed the potential plot twist in the sequel, saying Darth Vader and Luke Skywalker are hooked up in a do-or-die lightsaber duel when Luke learns that Darth is, in fact, his long-lost father. Part of the article's listed below, but the speculation, it appears like Prowse was like speculating, not necessarily this is really happening, but just like, this is probably what's going to happen. But his speculation was right on the money.
Oh, dear.
I imagine some people may have thought that he was just joking around when he said it. He argued that his disclosure was purely coincidental, but you never know. If the internet existed back then, that quote would have spread like wildfire, but it was pretty much contained in this one newspaper and didn't really go anywhere at the time. I'm sure some of the fans who read the paper freaked out about it and talked about it with their friends, but it didn't really go beyond that or ruin anything. It was pretty contained. But he just recently let this out. Keeping actors from spilling the beans apparently has been a big thing forever. If today's internet existed back then, that one article would have come out, and then every single nerdy news website and maybe many mainstream news sources would have had an article titled "Darth Vader is Luke's father?" ? Exclamation point, or Obi-Wan lied about Luke's dead dad, etc. All these kind of things. Like I'm remembering Mark Ruffalo, who was on one of the late night shows with a bunch of the other cast, and they were talking about Infinity War. And the other asking, what happens? And Mark Ruffalo just lets out as a joke, everybody dies. And that's kind of what happened.
Whoops.
And you can see the face on like some of the other actors. They're going, oh no.
Shut up.
What do we do here? Tom Holland, of course, notoriously mocked for letting spoilers out accidentally. Like the one that he kind of let out that Andrew Garfield was a member of the cast when in an interview with him and Zendaya, however you say it, they're talking about how Zendaya was caught by Spider-Man. And he goes, oh yeah, I wasn't even there for that shoot, but I saw that. And then you could just see his face, he slowly die inside. The reporter was kind enough to not follow up on that. But he knew from that point on, yeah, he's definitely not the Spider-Man that caught him. Caught her. Like, dude, oh no. But Andrew Garfield, though, there was even like a leak of him on a green screen set, like doing Spider-Man stuff. And that dude did not cave until the movie came out. He was asked about it for months. People saying, come on, we all know. We've all seen the stuff. It's like, I don't know what you're talking about. It sounds like a fun movie. They haven't contacted me.
You liar.
Oh, man. Well, that wraps up today's news. We're going to take a quick break.
Didn't know where it was. But when we come back, Matt's got something to get off his chest.
And we'll share today in nerd history. Stick around.
What if I told you there's more than 3 billion gamers on the planet? What if I told you that we're sending missionaries into almost every culture and every country and every language on the planet except one of the largest and most unreached people groups in the world? And that world is the world of gaming and nerd culture. With the rise of things like Stranger Things and the Marvel Cinematic Universe, Dungeons and Dragons, Magic the Gathering, Pokemon, Harry Potter, you name it, nerd culture has been on a rise for dozens of years. And it has outgrown Christianity by almost 1 billion people. My name is Mark, and I am the lead and founding pastor of Lux Digital Church. My wife and I ministered in Pittsburgh for 11 years, and then 2 years ago started an entirely online church that reaches people in the digital gaming community. We now have a church family that is spread across almost 16 time zones all across the globe, and we get the opportunity every single day to actively engage in deep, impactful relationships with people, to see them not only come to know Jesus, but also to grow up and become more like Jesus. I am incredibly passionate about the church learning how to engage the next generation, and the next generation, spoiler alert, are mostly gamers. When Jesus says to go and love your neighbor, well, statistically, if your neighbor is a teenager or younger, if they are Gen Z or Gen Alpha, statistically, your neighbor is a nerd or a gamer. And for the most part, the church has little to no idea about how to actively engage with those subcultures. And they're not even becoming subcultures. They're mostly just our culture, which is why us at Lux Digital Church and also our friends over at Love Thy Nerd are putting together something called the Nerd Culture Ministry Summit this upcoming November in Marble Falls, Texas. It's a chance for you as a pastor and your team to come and learn how to actively engage in an impactful and meaningful way with a group of people that the church has largely ostracized, told their hobbies are stupid, or have mostly totally and completely forgotten about. The only way to actively engage with them and to tell them about the life-giving gospel is to build relationships with them through the things that they love. And most of those people, well, they love video games and board games and tabletop RPGs. And we want to teach and train you on how to actively get into that community. So we're gathering together nerd culture ministry leaders and nerd culture ministry missionaries, and we're pulling them together in one space for one summit to teach the church how to engage with this culture, to build bridges between church culture and nerd culture. It's going to be in Marble Falls, Texas this November. I hope to see you there. Make plans to be there. Go to ncmsummit.com and get registered today. It's inexpensive and a great opportunity for you and your team to learn how to connect with the next generation in a way that goes beyond just another pizza night. I'll see you there.
Welcome back to Rise and Shine Nerds, LTN's official morning show here on YouTube and LTN Radio.
For this segment, Matt is taking the reins with something to get off his chest.
All right.
What you got? What you got, Matthew?
So I have a story of Deidra being awkward. No.
I'm never awkward in public. He's never going to have that.
Deidra's never awkward. Oh, that's a challenge. That's a challenge right there. Welcome to the story time next week. All right. Now, here's my beef. My beef this week is TikTok and other like programs are teaching us to be stupid on purpose. Let me explain.
Okay.
I watched an interview a while back with the guy who does Unnecessary Inventions. He makes a lot of goofy things that don't really need to exist, but they're funny and they, deal with some stupid problem or another. It's very entertaining. TikTok account, and then he's made like longer form YouTube videos going through the process a little bit more. But he got interviewed about how to garner more traction, engagement on the TikTok videos. And he said one of the things that he'll usually do is that he'll put captions and stuff on the screen. Like he'll make his own words on the screen. And he'll usually like misspell one word very badly. Or he'll misstate a fact or a date or something on purpose, knowing that he's going to get flooded with comments about, hey, actually it's this. Hey, actually it's this. You were wrong about this. Hey, you misspelled that. Because those kind of comments drive engagement. It doesn't matter what the comments are, as long as you get comments.
Wow.
And you're going to have so many people online that have to be right about everything and love to point out other people's stupidity that they're going to fall for it and then send that video up to more and more people's feeds.
Everyone's commenting on this. We're going to start showing you this video more. Yeah.
So what has that? I mean, I get that. And for the most part, it doesn't bug me because it usually flies over my head. I don't realize that he misstated something or misspelled a word. And the rest of the video goes on. It's not held there. What's bugging me are the TikToks are now like, there's a bunch of games you can play in TikTok as a part. You're recording it and you're trying to play the game. Or there's like a challenge. It's like, it's impossible to do this. You gotta do this. And there are people that are acting like
they can't do
it. It
that.
really is impossible. There is one of them I saw was, how do you draw? It's impossible to draw 2 triangles with just 5 lines. I'm like, what? 1, 2, 3, and then you use one of those lines as the third, and you go 4, 5. There's 2 triangles.
Right.
And so there are dozens of videos that come up. What? That's not impossible. 1, 2, 3, and then they start drawing another one. 1, 2. Oh! It is impossible. Oh no.
And then they make $1 million from that video.
So many people will either comment how stupid they are or stitch themselves with that video. It's where it like plays that video on the one half and then your half on the other. Or well, that's duetting. Stitching is where it'll play part of their video and then it goes to you and you do the other. But either way, both of those versions, duetting or stitching, will get more views on the original account as well and bring people over there. And then show them how stupid they are. Look how easy this is. And I've fallen into that trap too, stitching a while back. I'm like, how are you not seeing this? I don't understand. Are you being wrong on purpose? It feels like you're being wrong on purpose. Yeah. There's another game right now that's like, you have to.
Got something.
Do you? Go ahead. I'll jump back.
The other day you complained about all those weird videos that come over from like
the NPC.
China.
Oh no, yes.
And they're stupid.
Oh.
That's why.
It's like they're
getting
dumb
comments.
ways to take money out from behind, or like the weird.
And they
don't make any sense.
They don't make sense, and they're gonna get a lot of comments about that.
Maybe
this is dumb. This is stupid.
What is happening here?
What is it? I don't get it.
But here's this goes to a new level on Instagram Reels or Facebook Reels, you know, the Instagram Reels that we see on Facebook. Because they're not about playing dumb. They're about making you mad.
Oh, like the ones that like don't finish.
The ones that don't finish, it's like, here, we're going to have this big thing, and he's working towards it, and you're going to see the end, and then it cuts off.
I hate those.
But the other worst ones are the ones that start, it's playing something in a wide format, and you're looking at a bunch of stuff to see, and the caption at the top is like, I can't believe he got away with it.
Gosh,
and you're like, who got away with what? What did they get away with? I'm watching this video 18 times to try and find one, and there's nothing there. There's nothing there. And it's all just about you to say, well, thanks for wasting my time. It's still a comment, and it's still going to rack them up. We are teaching ourselves to be dumb on purpose so we can be popular.
Wow.
And that is so sad to me as a human being.
It's all about the money.
I will continue to watch TikTok videos for the few good ones out there. I know most of the stuff I like is that guy that makes weird pizzas, the guy that has like 18 different personalities of himself around a table talking about food and clips from stand-up comedy shows. Okay, that's the main thing I watch. But still, the most I have to get through so much garbage to get to the good stuff. It makes me sad. Yeah. That's my story. That's what I'm complaining about.
That's your beef you got with
the other thing I was going to talk about. One of the popular games right now is like you're trying to. There's like 5 marbles on string. It's kind of like those. Click, clack, back and forth things. But you're trying to shoot, they're in a circle, and you're trying to click to where they can all flow back and forth without crashing into each other. Okay? And it's difficult. It's a difficult thing to do it right. But people will post themselves just doing it over and over again and getting it wrong. Like 3 minutes of them never getting it. And he's like, it's impossible. So people will sit with him like, see, just do it this way. Click at this rate. And there we go. Like, you didn't figure this out in 3 hours? I don't understand.
You're so stupid.
You're
but
so
then
stupid.
Really,
Like,
they're the stupid.
They're just like, bring me the money. Delicious views. So good. Stop it. Now to wrap up our show, it's time for Today in Nerd History.
Today in Nerd History.
Today's date is August 31st.
On August 31st, 1996, Crash Bandicoot released. This classic platformer game follows the adventures of a genetically enhanced Bandicoot who must stop the evil Dr. Neo Cortex from conquering the world.
On August 31st, 1999, Tony Hawk's Pro Skater released. This groundbreaking skateboarding game let the players perform amazing tricks and combos as one of several legendary skaters in a variety of realistic and creative levels. It spawned a series of 20 games across several platforms.
On August 31st, 2011, Justice League #1 kicked off the New 52 era of DC Comics. The New 52 was a bold initiative to relaunch its entire line of superhero comics with new #1 issues, new costumes, new origins, and a new continuity that merged elements from the previous DC universe, Wildstorm, and Vertigo comics.
On August 31st, 2021, Only Murders in the Building premiered on Hulu. This American mystery comedy drama television series, created by Steve Martin and John Hoffman, stars Steve Martin, Martin Short, and Selena Gomez as 3 true crime podcast fans who investigate murders in their Upper West Side apartment building.
For more nerdy facts about today's entries, find the companion article on lovethynerd.com. We hope you have a fantastic day, and we thank you for making Rise and Shine Nerds a part of it. Catch us every weekday morning at 10 a.m. Eastern on YouTube and 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. on LTN Radio.
You can also subscribe to this show on your favorite podcast app or through the Love Thy Nerd YouTube channel, so you can catch up on any episodes you missed.
And tell us what you think of the show via our socials at Rise and Shine LTN on Facebook and Twitter. Once again, I'm Radio Matt.
I'm Deidra.
And as always, a reminder.
Jesus loves you, nerds.